Mercury's in retrograde. Mercury's in retrograde. I have tried 4 times to get this to work and it is not. And I filmed about half of this video and then my battery died. So here we go, we're trying again. Hi loves, welcome to my channel. My name is Zen Jen, your meditation, mindfulness, spiritual wellness, holistic bestie. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about anxiety and some things that you can do to lessen the anxiety that you're feeling. Throughout my life, my anxiety has shown up in a handful of different ways, like having stomach problems, shortness of breath, tightness in my chest, and just that like nervous energy coursing through your body, you know, things like that. But about a week ago, I went through the most debilitating period of anxiety I have ever experienced in my life. My stomach was in constant knots. I was having a really hard time eating or even just remembering to eat because my mind was also racing. I had so much anxious and nervous energy coursing throughout my body, and that made me feel exhausted, but apparently not exhausted enough to sleep at night because no matter what, I could not fall asleep. I was having such a hard time. And because of everything that I was feeling, I started flaking on friends because nothing could get me out of my apartment. I was feeling way too anxious to leave. This anxiety truly just felt debilitating. After a few days of feeling like that, it all came to a peak one night when I had a really bad anxiety attack. It was truly the worst anxiety attack that I've ever experienced in my life, at least my adult life. It started with me getting really dizzy, and then I realized that I hadn't eaten enough that day. So I went and grabbed some fruit from my fridge and I started eating it. And once I was eating it, all of a sudden I felt like I couldn't swallow, which is a super scary feeling, especially while you're eating something. So I set down the fruit and was just trying to focus on being able to swallow and trying to figure out like what was going on. And then it started to move into my arms and my hands and my fingers. They all started to tingle. So at this point, my mind is absolutely racing. It's like 9:30 at night. I live in a foreign country, thousands of miles away from my family, and I didn't know what to do. I was having thoughts like, oh my God, I'm having a heart attack. Something is seriously wrong with me. And I was honestly really scared. And I don't know where this came from, but I am so grateful for it. There was just like some little piece of awareness that popped up and whispered to me while this was going on. And they said, you're having an anxiety attack. You'll be okay. So I listened to that. I made that voice super loud and I just focused on relaxing my body. I focused on slowing down my mind and stopping it from thinking that my heart was literally gonna stop. So I decided to just lay down in my bed and focus on my breath because I really didn't know what else to do at that point. And to be honest with you, anytime an anxious thought came up in my mind or in my body, I just completely ignored it. And I just focused on breathing. And I would say to myself, I am breathing in, I am breathing out. And I did that for about an hour. This lasted a really long time and I focused on my breath, talked myself through breathing until I fell asleep. But unfortunately, the anxiety did not go away. The second my brain turned on the next morning, the anxiety was back, the feeling was back, and I was like, ugh, not this again. Because to be honest, leading up to that peak of that anxiety attack, I was really just ignoring my anxiety, hoping it would go away. But once I woke up and that anxiety was building inside of me again, I told myself like, I can no longer ignore this. I have to focus on this and I have to work on letting this go, whatever it is. And like clearly this anxiety wanted my attention, so I needed to face it in order for it to go away. I couldn't just continue to ignore it. So even though facing it felt really scary, I knew I had to in order to get through it. And it's funny because I know you have to face the hard stuff to get through it. I tell my clients that. But sometimes when you're in the thick of it, you forget that facing your anxiety, your fears, whatever it is literally a requirement in order to move through it and feel better on the other side. I've always told my clients you cannot move around the hard thing because it'll just continue to show up. You have to move through it in order to leave it behind you. So then I spent about 3 days intentionally focusing on my anxiety in order to let it go. That means bringing it to the surface, becoming aware of the things that amplify it or lessen it, and also listening to what the anxiety is trying to tell you, because there is always a lesson to be learned. So for today's video, I wanted to share with you the things that I do to bring awareness to anxiety, to help move through it, and then finally release it. Okay, so part 1 of this is awareness. Because when I was experiencing this anxiety, I truly had no idea why it was there or where it came from. So I went to my journal. I wrote about what I was feeling, what symptoms I was having, and I even wrote, I have no idea where this is coming from. And as I was writing that and other things, these little whispers started to come up that gave me a little bit more direction as to why I feel this way. And I know it's easy to see the little things that come up and think like, oh, that's no big deal, like grow up, move on. But when you're dealing with anxiety, everything turns into a big deal. So as I was journaling, I fought against the urge to shove the little things down and let them all come up, and I wrote them all in my journal. I wrote down every little fear, discomfort, and worry that came up, no matter what it was. And I know that journaling can be intimidating if you're not doing it regularly. I know because I literally was that person. So I wanted to share with you some journal prompts to help you through it. First, what are you feeling in this moment? So this includes your mind and your body. Just describe everything that's coming up for you, big and small. Next, what is the first thing that's coming to your mind right now? It doesn't matter if it's what should I eat for lunch or dang, it's really cold in here. Whatever it is, just write down the first thing that comes to your mind. Then ask yourself, what is this anxiety trying to show me? And maybe nothing comes up at first. That's totally fine. And if that's the case, just write down, I don't know. Or you could write down, maybe it's this. Like I know whenever I'm not sure, I will just continue to write down, I don't know, 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 until something comes up. Once the root cause of the anxiety comes up, just listen to it with curiosity. Don't place any judgment on it, because no matter how big or how small it is, it's clearly important if it's causing you to feel this way right now. And remember that no one's gonna read your journal. So be fully honest with yourself and write down everything that comes up. And if you want to take it a step further, you can even rip out that page of your journal and tear it up and get rid of it if you're worried about someone reading it. Once you've had your little journal moment, it's time to bring this anxiety to the surface. And I'll admit that this can get pretty uncomfortable. And even as a meditation coach myself, this tends to be my least favorite part, just because a lot can come to the surface that truly feels so uncomfortable. It makes you want to cry, makes you want to scream, makes you want to throw something. But just remember that what you're feeling is temporary, and bringing this to the surface is essential for you to let it go. And remember that ignoring it won't make it go away. So after journaling, go to your meditation cushion. Maybe you don't have a cushion, put down a pillow. Just go to an area that's quiet, that's safe, and where you can meditate quietly. This kind of meditation is going to be different from like the other night when I was going through my anxiety attack, where I was really just focusing on my breath. That could be seen as a meditation moment because I was so focused on my body and my breath. But this one, it's quite different. So while you're meditating, I want you to bring that anxiety to the surface and let it be the forefront of your mind. Fully focus on it. I do recommend that you ground yourself first before you get into this meditation, and you can do this by taking really deep intentional breaths. You can do it by visualizing a root growing out of your body into the earth, or any other ways that work for you. And then once you're grounded into your body and into the present moment, allow yourself to dive into the meditation. So focus on where you feel the anxiety in your body. For me, it was in my solar plexus area, right below my chest. So during my meditation, I put all of my awareness, all of my focus there. I even placed my hands over that spot and continued to just breathe deeply into what I was feeling. And I allowed the anxious energy to be loud. I allowed it to be uncomfortable. And I just reminded myself that what I'm feeling in this moment is only temporary. Everything you're feeling is only temporary. And if that energy ever became too much, I would just find my breath again, say to myself maybe a couple of times, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. Once I felt settled, I would dive back into that anxiety. And with time, my anxiety lessened. Every time I dove back into it, it wasn't as loud, it wasn't as uncomfortable. But let's be clear, I'm not saying after just one meditation, it poof, went all away. When you're doing this kind of meditation, you want to stay there until you feel a small shift or a crack in the surface. And each day you should feel that hard exterior of your anxiety crack more and more, and that energy that you're feeling, that anxious energy, lessen bit by bit. Once we brought that anxious energy to the surface, we want to release it. We want to let it go. And this is another thing that takes time too. And to do this, you can use breath work to let it go from your body. You can go on walks, get out in nature. Maybe you can talk to someone, or maybe there's another way that you like to use to release energy from your body. For me, I love a good dance party. I have a playlist on Spotify that I called High Vibe Playlist, and it's not even very many songs. I think it's like 6 or 7. I'll link it below. And these are songs that I've gathered over the years, and whenever I listen to them, they make me feel so good, and they just make me want to dance around and sing and laugh and have fun. So after my meditation, I'll throw on this playlist and I'll dance around my apartment like nobody's watching, and this is a really great way to move your body to release that anxious energy. And no matter what, I always feel lighter, and I usually have a pretty big smile on my face. The last thing that I want to share with you, and it's really just a reminder for for your day-to-day as well is to be intentional. When you're going through periods of anxiety, it's really important to be intentional about everything that you do. So that means putting things to the side that don't support your health and your mental well-being, or maybe that's even not hanging out with certain friends, those friends that maybe don't lift you up so much. And it's okay to go off the grid for a few days if you need to just fully focus on yourself. Also, be really aware of what kind of things you're consuming. So that includes food, entertainment, and energy. So put your phone on do not disturb throughout the day. Make sure you're not doom scrolling, and make sure that you have cutoff times for your phone at night. And let's try to make it so that your phone is not the first thing you reach for every morning. So I guess you can kind of call all of that my anxiety routine, and I hope it helps you the next time you're facing a period of anxiety. Also remember, if this is your first time doing rituals or routines like this, it's probably gonna feel uncomfortable, maybe a little bit awkward in the beginning, and that is okay. I've been practicing these rituals for years, so I was able to move through this bad period of anxiety pretty quickly in just a matter of a few days. But depending on what you're feeling, where you're at in your life, it could be longer, it could be shorter, just don't give up. Please just remember that what you're feeling is only temporary, and in order for you to truly feel better and get to the other side of it, you have to move through it. I'm sending you so much love, and I have so much confidence that you're gonna feel a lot better. If you have any questions at all about anything I talked about in this video, please leave a comment below for me to answer. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend who you think it might help too. Last thing, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me over on Instagram and TikTok at zenjen.meditation. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon. I love you. Bye.